FaZe is nominated for Org of the Year.
That's an unconditional love that nobody else can give you. Only your mom.
I agree.
My first pick was on Halo Live.
Okay, wait.
Wow.
Unsolicited.
Full 360. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, FaZe Swagg, here with my co-host, Matt. And ladies and gentlemen, today's guest, I would say she's the Jimmy Fallon, the GOAT. Literal the GOAT of the streaming just platforms in general is a GOAT cutie.
Wow. You didn't say FaZe cutie.
FaZe cutie.
Thank
I
you.
forgot the necklace. Necklace.
Thank you. I do. I have the chain. That means I'm in, right?
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
I think, when you have the FaZe chain, it signifies that you're in the team forever.
I can 360 nose scope.
100. Oh,
yeah.
She knows
I'm
the terminology.
In. I know Jason can't. So.
he definitely cannot. Like I said, we are honored to have you.
Thank you.
You're a pillar, just an absolute legend in the space of streaming, and we want to get to know more about you.
Didn't Jimmy Fallon isn't he like an alcoholic or something? Yeah, me and Jimmy Fallon.
Humans. You know what I mean?
We got a lot in common.
All humans, man.
So we wanted to start off kind of learning more about your lore,
okay.
where you come from, kind of just the beginning of QT's story.
Wow. That's so nice.
Take
You know what's funny?
back.
I hate showing up to shit empty-handed. I didn't tell this story when I got here, but I was all flustered because I'm new to LA. I say new, but I got stuck here during COVID, and then the real world opened up, and so I'm still learning stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't have time because Streamer Awards is I'm in the thick of it right now, and I usually will make cookies and bring them or whatever, but I didn't have time to make them. So I was
so we missed out on cookies.
I know. Well, I was I'll swing by a bakery and pick some up. So I do all this research. I find this bakery that's 5 stars. I'm like, great. And I leave plenty of time because yesterday I was a little late and caused chaos. But anyway, I leave plenty of time. I do this loop. I get there. It's not a real kitchen. I don't understand.
No.
It's one of those ghost kitchen things.
Oh, they do it only through Uber Eats.
Yeah.
I hate those.
They do it only through Uber Eats, and they're not accepting. And I was so sad. And so then I loop back as I'm driving. Okay, this is bad to admit, but I'm trying to find every stoplight. I'm nearest bakery. I couldn't find anything, so I'm sorry I'm empty-handed. But
it's okay.
It's all good. I do like chocolate chip for the next time that we do a round 2 pod.
Promise.
Yep.
Just throwing
I'll bring
it out there.
But I don't know. I'm just like everybody else when it comes to playing video games, just trying to find a place to fit in, right? I think that's where it all comes from. I grew up Mormon, and my brother, he was my second oldest brother. He was kind of the black sheep of the family, and he would always skip church and stay home and play Mario. And I was that's sick.
So you kind of followed suit in a sense.
Yeah. So I was I have to stay home, and so I would stay home with any excuse I could and just play video games with him. It was Crash Bandicoot, or even just Madden. I'd pretend I knew what was going on, and so he was my big introduction into video games, and I just always wanted to impress him. Kind of, that was
wow.
I always wanted to fit in with my older brother because he was the cool one to me, and then when I got to high school, or probably junior high, actually, I started playing Halo.
Awesome.
With him. Yeah, I got my
Halo
Halo
shirt. Got the shirt.
And I don't know why. I feel I'm not trying to print this shirt, but every time I wear it, everyone freaks out, and I'm guys, it's just
it's fire.
It's so funny, but so I was playing Halo a lot, and I'd get home from school because I could never really fit in at school. And so I'd get home and I'd go on Halo Live and I'd find some friends. And my first boyfriend ever I met on Halo Live.
No way. Do you guys live in the same town?
Yeah, we went to the same high school, but I didn't meet him at school.
You met him online, and you guys went hey, where do you go to school at? And it's we're at the same school?
Well, this is the funny thing is the boy I had a crush on, I would play Halo with him and another boy, and we'd play 1v1s on Guardian with the Overlook and watch each other and shit like that. Or we do the custom. Remember the Warthog races that you'd set up Rainbow Road and shit like that? Yeah. So we'd do that all the time, and they're oh, we have this guy named Brendan. Can we add him to the lobby? And I'm sure. And then he was do you want to play do you want to go do rank together or something like that? And I'm okay. And so we start playing together a lot, and I had never met him at school. I only knew his username, and then eventually he was like, do you want to like eat lunch tomorrow together? And I was like, I don't know. And then long story short, we started dating, but that's how we like first met, was on Halo Live.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool
My
story.
first pick was on Halo Live.
Okay, wait.
Wow.
Unsolicited.
Full 360.
Yeah, that was
Not from him, from some weird adult male.
Wait, so he sent
Some
a pic
creep.
on Xbox?
Yeah, remember the little Xbox camera that came out?
No, that's wicked.
Yeah.
That's
The
he a
Xbox
demon.
camera's crazy.
He's a demon.
Yep,
He's a
you could get the
demon.
DMs and it would be like, Or like, do you guys remember playing, there was like the family night games on Uno?
Yes.
Yeah, and you could have the little camera,
Yes.
and sometimes you would just like join random lobbies and it would just be out. And you
I
were
don't
like,
remember that part, but
yeah, it happens. It happened. It
That's
happened a
amazing.
I
lot.
feel like this is like the dark web of gaming we're talking about right now.
Yeah, Uno
I was
lobbies.
just playing like campaign.
Yeah, no.
I had no idea this was going on.
Neither did my parents, clearly. They had no clue.
what was your reaction to receiving that?
Well, I mean, this was the 360 camera, so it was like blurry. I had no clue what it was at first. I was like 13. I had no clue. I was like, what is that? But I mean, then
Wow.
I found out, and I was like, oh my God.
That's
terrifying.
insane. So were your parents pretty strict as far as like when you can game or not? Or they didn't really care as far as.
No, I was the youngest, so they low key forgot about me a little bit.
Really?
Like,
Okay.
yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, how the hell did I get away with anything? Because I would stay up, I'm not kidding you, all night. Like, I remember going to bed at 6 a.m., waking up at 7 and going to school multiple times.
Damn.
Like, as long as I showed up at school, that's all that mattered. And then by senior year, it was like,
Cooked.
it was pretty cooked. I remember I went into the office and I was like, oh, I got this number from, like, I got a form from my mom because she changed her number, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay. And I just put it in my number. So whenever I missed school, they would call my cell phone. And like, yeah, I cheated the system like crazy because my parents were just like, I don't know what the hell they were doing, but they were not hanging out with me.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 3, but then both my parents got remarried when I was pretty young, which I think is why they were distracted. And so I have 3 step siblings on one side, 3 step siblings on the other side. So just like chaos.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then how did that lead to, or I guess an earlier question is, at that time, what did you think you would be doing in the future? Like, what was your career path?
Well, even when I started streaming, my goal was never to be a streamer.
Okay.
Because I hate, this sounds so weird, but I hate being like perceived.
Okay.
Like I hate being looked at. I hate being like, I hate being picked apart in ways that
Like
you can't
judged in a
control.
sense?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
in a
yeah.
way, yeah.
I hate the worst thing in the entire world, and I know we can't complain because we're streamers and we're very lucky, but the luckiest person in the world has something to complain about, and you got to get it out of your system.
For sure.
The worst thing ever as a streamer is sometimes saying something, watching that get interpreted by 1,000 people, and it's
can't do
totally wrong, and you're like, no, come back, that's not what I
Yeah,
meant.
yeah.
Like, and so that, I hate that. I hate that I have no control over
The narrative.
your own narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's really frustrating to me. Like I said, in school, I was never popular. I don't care for the attention part of it, but I've always wanted to be really good at everything I do. So at that time, I've had a lot of side quests, but my main pipeline was I was in like retail management that went into corporate management. And then I was doing culinary school on the side.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, and then I quit like a really great paying job. I was making like $80K a year, and I quit that to make like $725 and be a pastry chef. And at first I was
kind of do what you love in a sense. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's cool.
At first,
Respect
I tried to be the wedding cake designer because I made cakes all throughout, like since I was a kid, and I spent like this whole week like filling up this portfolio, and I went and applied at this place to a wedding cake designer, and they said no, but you can be a pastry chef. And so I would work they only had like the bread shift, so I'd work like 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then I'd go work my 9 to 5, and then I'd go to bed and I'd repeat it because I just wanted to try to get the hours in as the
Damn.
pastry
Grinder.
chef.
So with pastry chef, it kind of like is just like the difference between like making cakes. It's like your pastries are just like the little.
Yeah, so I mean, you are a baker, but you're not a designer. So like a lot of my shift, I had the bread shift, so sometimes my shift was like 3 a.m. where I'd go in there and make the baguettes or the focaccia or
Okay.
ciabatta for the day, and I'd get all that done, and I'd prep stuff And then also I'd do everything. I'd do all the cookies and stuff like that. You do like thousands a day.
Damn.
And then on the weekends, I would decorate styrofoam cakes because I just really wanted to be the cake designer. And then eventually, obviously I got burnt out. I quit the management job and I went full time in the bakery, but it wasn't really full time, turns out. And so it got like really shitty really fast. I was like on food stamps and like was could barely get by.
It just wasn't paying good.
It wasn't, it was like $7.25 an hour and it was like and it was supposed to be 40 hours and then it was like 10 and then you're like, oh my God. But you have to be available for 40 hours because it's some whack shit. Jesus. And you're just like, oh my.
That's
and
a
so
scam.
it was rough, but then I got the wedding cake designer job and I just did wedding cakes and it was great. And then I was able to, climb my way back up. And then long story short, I went into like interior design and I was doing that. But I still love video games ever since I was a kid.
All this is going on, side quests and all, video games you still love.
That's what's crazy.
You do a lot of stuff.
There's
That's
like
cool.
12 other side quests within there, but this is the main pipeline. But regardless, video games was always my constant through everything. That's always been I think it's everybody's.
Yep.
For sure.
You don't need a ton of money to play a video game. For
sure.
Compared to traveling.
That PS4 nowadays.
That's true, actually.
Like $400, man. PS5, excuse me. I'm tweaking. See?
He doesn't even know.
We're in the 5 now.
After Halo, I was in like a drought for a while, but then I met someone that introduced me to League, and
That's crazy. Going from Halo to League, that's like such like a casual game to hardcore gaming.
That's funny. It was opposite.
I've never played League.
I've never played League either.
Oh, really?
Yeah, never.
Halo, we took it seriously. We went to LAN tournaments. We had a little clan going.
That's awesome.
It was intense. But I took a break through trying to go to college and working and all that stuff, and was just kind of all over the place back then. But once I met this person, they introduced me to League. It was the first game that itched that for me again, and I was back in. But I was playing on a MacBook on a trackpad.
Did you have a full PC setup?
Yeah, no, I didn't. So when I say, obviously gaming correctly is very expensive.
For sure.
But if you just have an old Nintendo, you can still game. You can still find that escape. But I would play League a lot. And eventually a boy bought me a PC and was like, surprise, here you go. And then I was able to play League on that PC.
I need to find this boy.
It was very nice. It was very nice.
Shout out to that boy.
Shout out, boy. And then I would get home from work and I'd play a lot, but then I didn't feel like I was being very productive. I've always been someone that has to be as most productive as possible. And so I was like, well, if I stream it, then maybe I will feel a little more productive. Plus I had somewhat recently lost my mom. And so I was just looking. It's okay. What can you do? You're an orphan too, right?
No, I'm not.
Are you an orphan? You're the orphan. I knew one of you was
not
an orphan.
But I lost my mom.
Yeah. No, we get a claim.
For sure. I actually wanted to talk about that for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Not dive deep into to make the viewers cry.
No, let's make them cry.
But I do love talking about losing, because it was one of the hardest things I went through. Mine was recent. It was 2021.
Ugh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I wanted to ask you, when you went through that at the time to where you are now, kind of what stuff have you done? I feel personally you don't really get over it, at least for me. I feel like you just learn to live with it. You kind of learn to distract yourself when you get sad, at least for me, because it's still fairly new. But I wanted to ask you kind of your journey through that loss.
I lost my mom in 2016. So we've got, I've got 4 years on you. It doesn't get better.
I agree.
It doesn't. That. I think that's the worst advice when people are like, oh, with time you'll feel better. No, you fucking won't.
You won't.
You'll feel worse actually, because your brain you start forgetting this person that meant so much to you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Right? Because who was your first grade teacher?
Cook.
But that first grade teacher used to mean the fucking world to you.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
He would show up every day. Yeah, exactly. And so it sucks because this is your person. There's something different about a mother.
I agree.
There's just something that.
She'll love you like no one else in the world will,
Yeah.
It's an unconditional love that nobody else can give you. Only your mom.
I agree.
I've always said it. I think the most impactful people in your life, you don't realize how impactful they are until they're gone. You don't realize that there's noise until it's quiet.
100%.
Wow.
And it flipped my life upside down, like genuinely. I say it to this day, it like in the most dramatic way possible, it ruined my life, losing my mom. But you still live.
Sure. Yeah.
And you just have to live with that new version of you.
And that sucks too, because like I just had a scare with my mom had a heart attack in September, and it was like that she coded everything in the hospital when I was there, and you know now she's like slowly recovering. But to me, I got back home. I'm from Phoenix, and I sat there and I told my girlfriend, I'm like, it's so weird because like now I just go back to my normal life. Like there was almost a second. There was like. When her heart stopped, it was like that moment right there. I felt what it felt like to not have her in the world. I was like, now I have to go back to just go on stream, and you know what I mean. Like,
isn't the weirdest thing in the
shouldn't I be
entire
there
world?
like her by her side like for I don't know months? Like, well, you know what I mean? I feel like I don't know. It's weird. Like, it has to. I just go back to normal. Like that happened, and it was like almost like a hiccup, I guess, from the world's point of view because I just keep going. You know?
Yeah,
like,
that's one of the worst feelings too, is realizing like I remember that when I first went back to work after it and like looking around and being like as dramatic as it sounds, like none of that mattered, right? Because the world keeps turning,
keeps spinning. It just keeps.
And you're like, holy moly. So it's finding that shift within yourself to figure out, okay, how do I live for this person now? Because you it's just a massive hole, and you can keep putting Band-Aids on it, and you can keep, you got to figure out how to live while bleeding out at the same time.
For sure.
And that's all you can do.
For sure.
So I'm sorry. It's hard.
I know, yeah. It's cool to hear somebody that understands the pain.
Yeah. This is kind of interesting segue, but another thing that gave me a lot of, I think I get a lot of resentment at people that say to me like, oh, you'll feel her all around you.
Yeah. I heard all of it, for sure.
Do you, and this is my question because unlucky to me, I have not felt my mother around me, and it's made me very cynical and angry. But have you, because I like hearing stories of people you felt like signs or even just comfort?
Not like signs or anything, but when she first passed away, I did have like dreams where I would like see her and I would like run to her to hug her, and then I would wake up and I'd be like, no! Like I would always want to go back. But a really cool story, super random. My mom was a very, very strong Christian, and I'm still a Christian. So she taught me a lot of faith, and I leaned that fully. Like that's what helped me personally was lean on faith. And I remember after she passed away, my biggest thing was I just wanted to know she was okay. Mm-hmm. So I remember I walked out of my house like a day after she passed, and I like looked up at the stars, and I was like, if I see a shooting star, like it will be God's sign telling me that she's okay. I stood there for 2 hours and I didn't see a star.
Way.
Right? But it gets better.
I hate that shit.
So I was like, damn, like she's not okay. Like I was so sad. A day later, there was an event in Texas. It was Tim the Tapman's event,
the tailgate. Yeah.
So I flew there, and like Swagg and all the new squad were there, and I actually hung out with them. And we were just chilling, and Swagg had a security guard, and out of nowhere he just starts talking to me, and he out of nowhere says like, I feel like you've been through like a lot. And I was like, yeah, I recently lost my mom. He looks at me in my eyes and he just says, I just want to tell you that I feel like God's telling me that your mom is okay.
Oh,
right?
God.
And then I'm like, thank you. Like I start crying
Yeah.
at the event.
Wow.
And I go, thank you so much. What's your name? And he goes, Star.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That is a crazy story.
So Star, the star that I asked
Yeah.
for to know that she was okay, was actually a guy named Star.
That's
He told me.
insane.
It was a crazy.
You never told me that story.
I've never told anybody that story.
That's
This is
Thank
my
you for
first
telling
time
us that
saying.
story.
Of course.
That's
That's
cool.
insane.
So that was like that was I guess the closest to the sign of like, okay,
Yeah.
she's okay. You know, she's up there. I'll see her one day. That's kind of that's what I lean on is like,
Yeah.
I see her one day. That's like the best faith that I can have.
I remember it's weird how I think in streaming and in the industry we're in, we forget like, because we become so robotic and like jaded and a little like, you have to be, because it's, if
For sure.
I became attached to every single person that I see in my comments or whatever, like
Yeah.
I don't have that many pieces of me, and meeting people like Star or, people that are able to pick up on that, those are some of the most incredible people you can meet in your entire life.
100%.
I remember the first Mother's Day after my mom died, went to go buy flowers to take to her grave. And I'm like in there and I'm struggling, right? Like I'm in there, I'm like, I think she liked roses. Like I'm just like, it's like freaking, you know, like keeping it to myself, but like trying to check out and like trying not to cry and squinting my eyes and just like, just get out of here, just get out of here. And I buy roses and I check out, I'm just staring at the ground. And this lady's like, she's like, you know, mom's in heaven, they love roses too. And I was like, stop it. Like even telling it now, it's like, it was so like,
that's beautiful.
And it was just like this weird thing that you need to hear. Cause it's everybody out there, you go and ask your mother what her favorite flower is right fucking now, because I didn't know and I regret it every day of my life. It's like something that simple, right? Because I wish I could buy flowers and put them on the counter and be like, those were my mom's favorite flowers, but now I won't be able to. Yeah. So that's your reminder. You better text her, call her, something as simple as that. I'll text her right after this. Because you won't even believe that you never knew.
Mm-hmm.
And you're
little
like,
things like that you wish.
It's crazy. Yep. It's crazy. Like I was like a pastry chef for years, made cakes for years, and I realized after my mom died that I never made her a birthday cake. Everybody else in my life, somehow I never from me. And you're just like, you kick yourself and you just all those things. So I've seen books going around that you can like buy online and ask your mom like stories TikTok. Or questions and stuff like that. Oh, my dad is like so harassed now. I'm always like, what's your this? What's your favorite song? What's your favorite? He's like, oh my God. But it's that. It's just really important to remember those things.
Yeah, it's good to talk about. Like I like hitting this subject because a lot of viewers, even if they haven't, they will one day. You know, they will experience that loss. So I love that, of remembering certain questions. I remember my mom would always tell me, like, take pictures wherever you go, because one day that'll be the only memory you have. And that's what she would always do, like, with her little, like, you know those cameras?
Yeah.
Everywhere, bro. So now those pictures are all I have. So I would share that with the viewers as well as you. Like, whenever you're with your mom, take selfies, bro. Like, take pictures with your family, because one day you're going to be like, oh, my God, like, I miss these days, you know? So it's beautiful.
I still call my... I still text my stepdad and I tell him not to answer because his voicemail is her voice and that's the only way I can remember it.
That's beautiful.
And it's like, that's the, like, cause you don't realize how your brain isn't meant to carry everything and you lose it. And so anything you can do to just keep pieces of people to do it.
For sure. I agree. So that was a little segment, but it was
I mean, I could talk about it for hours. I think loss is fascinating.
For sure.
It's like, Pooh Bear said that, so I have to find the quote. I'll find it verbatim because it'll drive me crazy if I misquote Mr. Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh saying goodbye quote. It's, how lucky am I to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard? You know, and it's like, it's crazy. And I don't think that on the bonus side, I've lost a lot of people since my mom. That gets a little easier. Yeah, I agree. Once you lost your fucking mom, it doesn't get worse than that.
Yeah, I agree.
So, you know, there's things you can hold on to at least.
For sure. And so you said that was in 2016, and kind of after that, obviously you went through that. What led to being introduced to streaming?
Yeah, so, you know, I get a PC and all this stuff, and I was a big fan of League of Legends. I would go and cosplay to like the LCS games and stuff like that, and found a sense of community there, and then would watch Sneaky and Meteos and Bjergsen. Bjergsen was the very first person I ever subbed to, and I would just watch their streams, which were very seldom because they were playing professionally, but you know, and I loved it. I was I'm a cutie pie head, which is where cutie in my name comes from. Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
If I could go back and change my name, that is the number one, like when people are like, what do you regret in your career? I'm like, my dumbass name. I hate it. Because like I'm a cutie pie is this big guy with a beard, and it's funny that he calls himself that. And then I'm like, I'm QTCinderella. And then everyone's like, oh, so you think you're hot? And I'm like, no, I was just a fan of a guy. Like, and so.
Does he know that you got the name from him?
I think so. I haven't never told him directly. One time we crossed each other at a Rust event, and it's like the most starstruck I've ever been. I was like, I was never into streaming outside of League. So I was never like a big, like I love Pokey, but I was never like a big Pokey head or anything like that. Like I leaned into, you know, Pokey is the queen, like forever. Yeah. But like I would lean into that bit, but I actually never consumed it. I never consumed anything outside of League of Legends. And since I played so much, I was like, well, I might as well stream. I have this computer now. I remember the first stream I ever did, my first viewer, his name was Ice Truck Killer.
I love how you remember the name.
I know.
That's insane.
Shout out Ice Truck.
Yeah. Ice Truck
That's
Killer
wicked.
scared the shit out of me because I was like, is that a real killer?
He types of, hey,
Yeah.
what?
You want
I
some
was
ice cream?
freaking out.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God. And so I was really scared. And then I just kept doing it because they don't tell you this, it's addictive.
For sure.
You see the 1 and then you see the 2 and then you see the 10 and then you see the 20 and you're like, oh my gosh. And for the first time in my life, it felt like people liked me. That is a mirage. Don't fall for that.
Yeah.
But it was almost intoxicating, which is bad.
Yeah.
It's a symptom of social media, unfortunately, but I definitely fell for it and it just kept going from there, I guess.
What was your big break, you would say, like that kind of like turned your streaming career from having those 10, 20 to where?
So there was this show called The Rodular.
The Rodular.
Have you ever heard of it?
I've never heard of it. It's like a dating show?
It was a stream. Okay. It was a streamer named Raj. He's passed away since.
Oh.
Not really. He changed his name because it used to be offensive. So.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And so he had these dating shows that were like very silly, go on there, whatever. And I was a big fan of The Bachelor, and I'd actually used to watch it with my mom. I haven't watched it since she died because I was like, well, I can't.
Yeah.
She'd be so mad if I watched it without her. So but I used to watch it a lot with her, and I was always a fan of the villain. I thought it was so funny because it's like everyone would be seething and they'd always fall for it, and you're like, girl, she's just doing it for the screen time, like duh.
Smart.
And she's a good job for that, And so this dating show was on Twitch, and I had a mod that was like, have you ever heard of this? And I was like, no. And he's like, you should be on it. I think you'd be really funny. And I was like, okay. So then I send in an application or whatever, and they're like, yeah, I would love to have you on it. And I went on and I played that villain because no one else ever would. But it's such a character.
For sure.
I'd go on there and I would just say the most heinous shit. I wouldn't mean any of it.
To the other girls?
Yeah,
or
to the
like
other girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's something you would say?
It was bad. I remember, before we'd go in, we'd all be sitting in a lobby and everyone would be like, hi, my name's so-and-so. And I'd always be like, guys, I'm going to be really mean. That's my thing. Because otherwise, honestly, a show is boring without an anti-hero. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I would sit there and I'd get bored unless someone was doing something.
100%.
And so.
Was this an in-person or was it e-date?
On Discord. It was like the big Discord thing.
Because you said the lobby, I was like, oh, wait, is this an in-person one? I was
Nope.
like, nah, e-date.
E-date, Discord call. And so I would tell them all, hey, I'm going to be mean. If you're not okay with that, tell me right now. And there'd be a few girls be like, leave me alone. And I'd be like, okay, that's fine, And everyone else would be like, oh, go for it. I'll be mean back. And I remember one girl in particular, and I feel bad about this one, but it was on Soda Poppin's Lover Host. And before the show, she was like, yeah, be mean, whatever. But then after the show, she's like, that was a little too mean. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, But I remember I said something along the lines, because Soda Poppin, if you don't know him, a variety streamer, everybody knows Soda Poppin. He's a legend. He's known for having a sex doll.
Oh.
Like as a friend,
I didn't know that
just as a buddy.
Okay.
Of course, he would never use it. Of course. And there was a girl, and she was in the call, and I said, we'll call her Samantha. I'm like, Samantha, why are you here? He already has a sex doll. And it was so mean.
That's fire, though.
It was mean. It was just like, but for the sake of the character, yes.
Did the stream love it?
Stream loved it.
Yeah, they probably were spamming. Whoa.
Well, and I remember I would text my friends. I'm like, give me something, like, just give me a mean thing to say. I would Google mean things to say. I was just like, because it wasn't me. It was just
character you're playing.
Quite literally a character. But then the problem was the format was lover host. So you choose love with the person, or they 10 girls, you end up with one. She chooses lover host before the thing. If she chooses love, you two go on an e-date. If she chooses host, she gets all the viewers from that stream.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a great format.
That is a good
pretty
format.
cool.
Yeah.
And I would always choose host. But they'd always choose me. I think mostly because they knew it wouldn't lead to any awkwardness, because I was kind of a gateway out,
Yeah.
But I'd always win, and I'd end up with 20,000 viewers instead of 20.
God.
And I didn't know what to do with 20,000 viewers, because 20,000 people don't want to watch
insane.
League. So
of course.
I remember it was like a big scramble, but that's where my big like kind of like start came from, was that silly little show.
That's dope. So how did
Yeah.
you transform your content with that 20,000 viewers? Did you keep playing League, or did you kind of like?
Nope. I switched to just chatting.
Okay.
And my League viewers were very mad. And I don't talk about this often, but it was actually one of the biggest, I think, kind of like regrets in my career, is because I started to lose myself. I lost everything I cared about. And like I said, it was intoxicating. It was addictive. For the first time in your life, getting attention. My first kiss was 16. I never had attention from boys. I was never the girl, the cool girl. Like, it was like, and then all of a sudden I'm
20,000 viewers. It's like,
and they all think you're funny and they all whatever, but they don't think Blair's funny. They think QTCinderella is funny.
Yeah.
And even on top of that, they think the mean
girl
character that I'm playing is funny, and I can't keep that up.
Yeah.
That's exhausting.
They're like, you're way too nice. What are you doing? Be mean. Like, come on. Like,
I know.
Talk
They'd be
trash.
like, and it's like, to whom? Like, there's no one here, But it did. It bled over into like my personal life, because it was like living two lives. And
you feel like when you were being mean as that character, did that transfer over into, were you being mean like IRL kind of?
Yeah, kind of. And I think about it now. I mean, now I've got a lot of regrets about it. And I think it's like so important, if you do stream, to be yourself, because I wasn't. And I lost a big chunk of myself that I didn't find again until, I would say, recently. Like, I was still working full time and then streaming on the side. And I didn't actually quit my full-time job until COVID, when everything's closing.
Wow.
I'm an interior designer. You can't have contractors in your house. You can't do anything.
Damn.
And money from streaming started passing money from that. And I was like, well, I'm not getting any younger, so I guess this is it. But I never wanted to be a streamer. I always knew that, because I was like, I know if I do it, I'm going to lose myself completely. And I did, but I've slowly found parts of myself throughout it all too.
Dang. So where did Ludwig come into the play? Because you said you could COVID and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Where is he fit into the story?
So I would get those big raids.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do besides farm drama. So this is why I get along with Jason and the FaZe boys. I was the original E-dater. I would go in just chatting. I'd scroll through, find boys, go in their chat and say, do you want to date me? And then they would be like, yes or no. And then we'd get on Discord call and play games, and I'd farm that content. Like, I would just,
So you're the original clip farmer.
maybe. I'm not on the level of Ron. No. But like, that's what I would do. I'd go in and I'd try to get E-dates, and we'd play games together, and I would just farm. And obviously it was all fake, like,
Yeah.
But Lud was one of those people. I went into his chat and I had no clue who he was. And we were friends for a really long time before we dated. And it wasn't until like I came out, like I want to say, like, it was like March of 2020. I come out here. I'm in LA. COVID happens. Can't go home.
Yep.
It was like, everybody, you're stuck here for however amount of time or whatever. And then, things, and all of a sudden we're not friends anymore. And all of a sudden we're dating, and you're like, oh, okay.
Who was the first person that kind of like, yo, should we?
It was Ludwig.
It was Ludwig. Yeah.
I was so like, I don't know. I just wasn't in the headspace, but I mean, he was bold.
Okay.
He had some riz that I didn't realize he was having. I was like, this is my friend. And then I was like, oh, I see it now. Holy shit. How did I miss all that? But and then he lived here, and then COVID's happening. I'm stuck here. We were friends and whatever. We start dating. And then I had the choice of like moving back home, but then you go to long distance.
Yeah.
Or then you stay together. And so then
now you're stuck here.
I'm stuck here, and I'm like, how did this happen? Where am I? Because I am not an LA girl. I do not like it.
Now you're drinking oat milk lattes.
I know. You show up somewhere, they're like, which kind of milk? I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean?
The matcha drinks now, everything. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So when you started streaming, was it like 2018?
It was, I think, late 2018. Yeah.
So during that time, what was like the biggest difference between nowadays, with Twitch at least? Was it the same meta? Was it different back then? Because I feel like back then it was more like heavily based on gaming, But you tell me that like your big break was just chatting.
That's what's funny is I thought it was based on. That's what I thought. Like I thought, this is a gaming website, and apparently it wasn't. I had never even heard of Just Chatting until people were like, "You should go on the show," and I was like, "What is this section?" And admittedly, I had the same closed mindset as any fucking gamer girl, where I was like, Just Chatting, those are for the titty streamers. And you're like, what is wrong with my internalized misogyny? Like, what is wrong with me? Like, I'm not going to go on Just Chatting. Like, fuck yourself. Like, And then once I figured it out, I mean, it was big. It was just smaller, I would say. Like, that was the most interesting thing about Twitch now and Twitch then is it was so much smaller. Once everybody knew everybody.
Now it's crazy. I mean, Just Chatting, you be seeing, you go in there, it has like 600K people like watching Just Chatting.
Yeah.
Every day though, like it's consistently.
The only thing that makes me the most mad is when we're doing streamer awards, obviously, and it's fan nominated, fan voted. And when I'm looking through the nominations, if I recognize all the names, then we've done something wrong. And I say, uh-oh, we didn't get out to enough communities. Like next year, we got to figure out how to get like this category specifically. If I know every name, there's no fucking way.
For sure.
Because there's got to be at least a handful of surprises. Otherwise, we're not tapping in enough. Like we're not, someone didn't do their voting or we didn't. And usually, as funny as it is, I'll go into leading up to Stream Awards. I probably watch, 8 hours of Twitch a day. I'm just clicking through. There's very few streamers that I haven't seen.
And do you go for off the nominations and you go and like find that like you just search Twitch in general?
I just searched. This is before nominations.
Oh, okay.
I just want to know. Like I want to be in the know. Like Jason, for example, I've known about Jason since I invited him to the second Streamer Awards. He presented at the third one, and the fourth one he's nominated. Right?
Wow.
Like, and before I ever even invited him, I knew of him. Like I've seen every name at some point.
Yeah.
And I have tabs on nearly everybody. And that sounds psychopathic, but it's for the sake of what the Streamer Awards is for. It's to highlight as many people as humanly possible. And if we're not doing that, then we're not giving the show its purpose.
For sure. I wanted to talk about the Streamer Awards because it's one of my favorite awards.
That's so nice.
When is it actually? What's the date of it?
December 7th.
December 7th.
When does this come out?
Definitely before December 7th.
For sure. Like next week? Next week probably?
Okay, well voting starts on the 11th.
Okay.
I can leak something.
Yes.
Because we do have some of the nominees locked in.
Leak them.
FaZe is nominated for Org of the Year.
Woo! Wow, what a comeback.
First time.
How many people are nominated for it?
4.
4? Okay.
4 orgs. You guys are up against AMP, so.
Okay.
And 2 others, which I won't say them because they're still, panel is involved and we're figuring it out.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So talking about the Streamer Awards,
Yeah.
how did you even think of like creating this? What was like the start of it and what like encouraged you to start it?
I think at the time there was a few different award shows and none of them felt they weren't run by streamers. They didn't get it. You would see the same
names over
and over. It's
so corporate.
Ninja's great, but he's Ninja.
Yeah.
Like, and then when people think streamer, they just think Ninja, and I'm like, guys, Ninja's amazing, but there's so many people too. And so I'd see these award shows. You see, the same, and also you just see a broad, like Streamer of the Year. Okay. So the reason
everyone goes home. Streamer of the Year.
Yeah.
Okay, bet. All right, we're out of here.
Yeah, and there's only 4 people, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
There was no one really doing something for streamers specific. I think Twitch did an award show at one point, and it was just too corporate, and and then I think it came from a place of, again, how I've found myself over the last few years of not having a purpose. I love bringing people together. I've always liked that.
For sure.
I think because I've always felt on the outside. So if I can bring people together, then I'm helping in some capacity. And I had just done Shit Camp, which was a camping-esque stream with like XQC and NMP and a bunch of people in my circle. And so many people reached out to me afterwards and they were like, that was so cool. Like, I want to come to the next one. I'm like, I can only fit 10 people. And so I really sat there and I was like, what can I do where I could potentially fit 1,000 people and bring everyone together and make it a night of bringing everybody up instead of the internet, which we're really good at, is tearing everybody apart and farming drama, and I hate so and so because it's going to get a million clips and whatever. Like, how can we do that? And then an award show just made the most sense.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what goes on behind the scenes? I just think of it. I'm
to
like,
put that together,
my God.
like how do you what does
It's
that look
rough.
like? Like the venue, just like the details of that.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's a lot. It's like I would say that is my full-time job. Streamer Awards is my full-time job. Streaming is my second job, and then podcasting is my third job, and then on top of it keeps going. But it's a lot. The interesting thing is last year, the show, I don't like talking about like the finances of the show because people get weird and they accuse me of doing it wrong and whatever, but it hasn't made money yet. And that's fine because that's not
But I feel like that's not even your goal though. Like
Yeah,
when you think
exactly.
you literally just want to bring people together. Like
Yeah.
I feel like you go into something like that, like no one really goes into doing stuff like that thinking like, all right, we profited 300,000. Nice, we did a
Yeah,
great job.
that's why I did
Yeah,
it. No, that's
yeah.
not why I do it. So it hasn't yet. But last year was a struggle and it was like going into a deficit. So I was like, I might have gone too big too soon. So I need to scale it back. So I made a few changes. We're using a smaller venue this year. We moved it to Q4, which I think is going to be better overall because it's more of like a wrap up of the year. I was trying to do it during Grammy seasons and Oscar seasons, so it felt a little more prestigious. But the problem is a recency bias. People would like nominate people for stuff that they just did in January, and you're like, no, it's for the prior year. Like,
Yeah.
Think
Facts.
Think back.
I feel like that's a mistake, Grammy. I get confused sometimes. I'm like,
course.
I
wait,
know.
I'm like, they're doing it in like, what is it? Like February?
It's in
Yeah,
February,
February,
March.
March.
And I'm like, wait, we're talking about. I'm so confused.
I know.
Yeah. So and we moved it there, but now actually just moving it to Q4, and it being the fourth year, and just it gets bigger and bigger every year. I think the first year we had like 300,000 people watch it, and then 500,000, and then 700,000 people last year.
That's awesome.
And and I was just trying to have insurance and be safe, and was like, okay, we're gonna go smaller, But this year is looking to be fabulous, and so I'm like, shit. Last year I had 1,000 seats. This year I only have 250. And so I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then next year I'm going to go back to big because now I know I feel comfortable with it. But lots of decisions like that. Like there's lots of small things that all add up, even to the point of like, people don't think of this. Who sits next to who? There's always drama.
Damn. You don't think of that when
You
you're
wouldn't
like,
believe the
that's
DMs I
crazy.
get. That's
Like, why did you put me? Why am I sitting?
Yep.
Next to you actually get those type of DMs?
My God. Yes.
That's crazy.
Or like streamers, I love you. But like can I bring my secret boyfriend, but can he not be on the camera? No, it's a
that's not a
streamed
thing.
event.
That's not a
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
No.
Can I bring my secret girlfriend? But
That doesn't even make
no,
sense.
We
Like-
can't, guys. It's all streamed. Every corner is streamed. It doesn't, and it's just like it is. 200 this year, 250 streamers that I have to coordinate their arrival times, all of their details, who they're sitting next to, making sure they have their winner speech because they're in charge of writing that. But last year, everyone just didn't. And then I'm like, so reminding them this year.
They kind of just went up and winged it.
Oh, yeah. Last year was the worst year of winner speeches. Winners, congratulations.
guys,
but
look,
you guys, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's
Like,
a-
I'm just kind of here for the vibes, integrate energy.
Everybody went up and they're like, I didn't think I'd win this.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're like, no. Like this
Give
is your
some,
time.
motivate the people, something. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
So there's little things that you learn every single year. But I've got a notebook probably this big. So the second a show ends, I watch it, the last one, and I just take notes and then refer that notebook the next year and then refer it the next year and then refer it. So there's a lot of thought that goes into it.
that's so dope. Well, how big is your team for the Streamer Awards? Like, who helps? Like, how many people help you with it?
So that's an interesting question. So I hire a production team.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So they do the production part of it, like the cameras and the TV.
Yep.
I don't do that, but I do everything else.
Damn.
Like, you do yourself. You do everything else.
Yeah. So I have a producer that I brought on this year to help me find get me catering bids. But I'm a control freak and I want everyone to have a great time. So it's like she can't book catering until I choose it. Like I can't, I pick out the linens, I pick out the flowers, I have to see the menu cards before they get cut out. But now, luckily, I have a producer and assistant, so they will help cut them out and place them out. But every year, I'm still the one the day before helping put the tablecloths on the table,
Damn,
and taping
I
the
love
names
that.
on the back of the chairs,
Yeah.
and I just
Front lines.
I care about it so much.
That's
like,
what makes it so good, though. Like that's where the success.
Attention to detail.
I want it to be everybody's favorite night of the year. I just want it to be fun.
For sure.
Like, it's for us to celebrate. It's for us to come together. We never get to do that. Ever.
Especially
like,
coming out of COVID, I think that's what a lot of people want to do too.
Yeah.
Just come together. You know, we were trapped in for 2-3 years, you know, so.
My favorite thing in the world is when people are doing nominations and you pull up someone's stream, you can see that it's on their screen and they're scrolling through and they're like, who should I put for best FPS? And they're like, oh, so-and-so's killing it this year. And they just like sit there and it's just like an hour of them filling out their nominations and they're just fucking gassing each other up. Finally, dude. Like, the internet is so powerful and we use it for so much negativity. Like, I bet you right now, you in the comments, you can scroll down, you could see someone being like, Kitty was so fucking annoying. You know, why do we use the internet for that?
Yeah.
What this is the most power humans have ever had in their hands, and we're using it to tell someone that they look fat? Like, what?
Yeah.
We're using it to tell someone to kill
Facts.
themselves? Why?
Facts.
Why? Why can't we just be like, it is the one time of the year where everyone is like kind of given a reason to be nice to each other, and they do it, and it makes me feel so happy.
That's awesome. I bet when it's all coming together, like after it's finished, you get back home, you just, damn.
Like Thanos after.
Like, literally like Thanos.
Sits down. He's like,
We did it. Until next year. No, I mean, the second it ends, I'm not kidding. I
You gotta
start
take
my
a
list.
vacation.
I start my list for the next one. I'm addicted. I love it.
Well, this next one, you should probably take a vacation, probably go to Turks with that notebook and just on a beach.
I'm trying to, it's December 7th, and Taylor Swift's last Eras show is December 8th.
Wow.
So I'm thinking of
Where's it at?
ripping it in Vancouver.
Book a jet.
I know. But I'm afraid of flying. But I'm thinking,
really?
I haven't flown in 3 years.
okay.
But I'm thinking of doing it.
Book a
Maybe.
jet.
Good.
Feel a
You
little
deserve
crazy.
it.
Yeah,
So,
we'll see.
One of my favorite things about the Stream Awards, literally, you've said it multiple times. It's ran by streamers, and
Yeah.
it feels so authentic. One of my biggest content pieces on TikTok is reacting to award shows.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, I went insane. I reacted to every single award show that exists.
Okay.
And your Streamer Awards felt the most genuine, and it had the most comments on when I would react to it, because people
interesting.
care more about streamers than big artists now, and it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Even like celebrities, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there'll probably be more comments about Speed than Leonardo DiCaprio.
Exactly.
It's weird. It's weird
But I
how
love
it's
it.
happened.
It's
Yeah.
just how it
Hopped on
is.
and you're like starting this wave of showing appreciation to like the small streamers as well as the big ones. So I wanted
Yeah.
to congratulate on
Oh,
you
that's
on
so
that.
sweet.
That's
What the
amazing.
heck?
And also before we started the pod, I shared with her that I reacted to it. The Grammys took down my reactions, and she did it. So
Go.
she didn't copyright strike me.
I would never. It was only the first year we said, "Hey guys, please don't react to the show," because we had to get the numbers for the sponsor for the next year.
Got it.
But
Well,
now
it
we
wasn't
have
live.
No. It's. I mean, you can react to it live, but now we have the. We have a way to track it, right? Because
Oh, cool.
tech has gotten better every year. So now, if anyone reacts to it,
You track the numbers.
we get to track them, and it's great. Everybody wins. Everyone gets to
100%.
eat. That's the dream. Let's all eat. Like, that's
Yeah.
all. The only weird rule I have, I'm curious about your guys' opinion on this, because I sit there and I question it. The only rule I have is if you're invited and you decline for like a bogus reason, like I don't want to leave my house, then you can't react to it, because
Okay.
otherwise, no one's gonna show up.
Yeah.
Because let's be
That's fair.
honest, if you can show up the night of and just have fun with friends, or you could stay home and watch it and make money, you might stay home and watch it and make money.
Yeah, but it's
That's
like
fair.
one of those things where it's like that kind of tells you the true character of somebody. It's like, would you rather like
You just never invite
enjoy
them.
the moment? Yeah, you just.
You think that's what I do?
I think you just never invite them.
Drama.
Unless it's a real excuse. But
If I
they
was
just-
you, I would just never invite him again.
There's a few that's a real excuse. Like, okay, Moist Critical, I love him, and he's terrified of flying. You tell me you're terrified of flying, pfft, I get it. You know, I'm like, Moist, you react to the pre-show, you react to whatever you fucking want, like, you know, and I get it. But there's some people that are like, yeah, I'll think about it, but like, there's like a baseball game the same day, and I'm like, bro, like,
Yeah.
no, then you had your opportunity to come. But
I
I
think-
feel bad
No,
instantly.
I think you let him react to it because, like I said, you can get to use the numbers for to even build it up more. But I would just wouldn't invite him again because that's a courtesy that you put in all this effort. You know what I mean? It's like I extended to you and you're missing it for a baseball game. Like,
But what if they're nominated?
I don't think they get invited again.
But well, even if they're nominated?
I think so.
Because isn't it better to have
I get where you're
a
at,
nominee
though.
in
Yeah,
person?
Yeah. It's harder.
It's hard.
See, that's the shit.
That's crazy.
That keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
There's so many little things that I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, what about this? What about that? What about da-da-da-da-da? Like, even this year, this is also, I mean, it'll be announced, but it's a leak. We usually max it at 4 categories. We say no one can be nominated for more than 4 categories. But this year we have someone that's nominated for 5, and we're changing the maximum because there's just no way to say, usually, okay, this is complicated, but I'll break it down for you. Usually you get nominated for 5.
Yep.
And, I mean, I can leak it. It's whatever.
Who's the person?
It's fucking Kai.
Okay, yeah.
Of course it's Kai. It's Kai. So usually what happens is if you sweep like that, you would we would look at the numbers, we would look at the popular vote, and the category that you have the least amount in,
You
because
give it to the one that's
we
like,
give
of
it to the
course,
next,
I
because
get that.
otherwise the whole purpose of the show is to highlight as many people as
Of course.
possible.
Kai walks away with 5 Grammys. It's like
he might, you know, and so he might. And so we usually say you can only be nominated for 4, because even if he wins all 4, at least that 5th category someone else gets. But this year, Kai is nominated. I'm leaking so much, but this will be out after, so it's okay.
It will, yeah.
Kai is nominated for Streamer of the Year. He's nominated for Best Collab. He's nominated for Best Marathon. He is nominated for Best Just Chatting. And the weirdest one, he is nominated for Gamer of the Year because of all of his
Fans.
gaming.
Yeah.
Gaming, yeah, he had some crazy,
gaming.
True. Oh my God, he did.
And so
Yeah.
you look at those 5, and his vote is like, you know, technically, you know, you would remove one of them, but like, which one of those 5 could you fathom removing him from?
Maybe Just Chatting, just because it's like I don't know, it's like weird. Like I don't think Kai, I don't think of Just Chatting.
Yeah, but that's a category.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's the only like maybe leeway you could probably.
I know.
And it's a hard one to.
But like,
yeah.
you can't imagine he's not in Best Collab.
He has to be, yeah.
And you're like, oh, imagine he's not in Best Marathon Stream. You're like,
Huh?
oh.
Yeah.
And then if he's not in, I mean, normally I would say it's strange that he's in Best Gamer, but this year he's gamed more than fucking some of the pros.
100%.
Like, what can you do? So so this year, and the precedent moving forward is you can be nominated for 5 categories, but it's weird stuff like that every year you're sitting there and you're like, wait a second. Because Gamer of the Year used to be technical skill. So we would say the best gamer, but as the show has evolved, every other category has always been the most entertaining to watch. Like if you're the best Fortnite streamer, it doesn't mean you're the best player at Fortnite.
Yep.
It means you're the best to watch play Fortnite.
Got
Like
it.
I've got to watch you play Fortnite. You could be the worst, but I want to watch when you play Fortnite because it's so funny, right? And Gamer is the same thing where it's this hybrid now. It's not just technical skill. It's also like, who is just that gamer you have to watch a game?
100%.
Yeah.
They don't have to be the best in the world, but you just got to watch them. So it's interesting. Every year you find these little things that you're like, oh, yep, adapt. Or that was wrong. Change that next year. Like, because we've been wrong before.
Yeah. It's
But
so
yeah.
cool.
So many things go into that.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Awesome. I'm sure. Now, do you watch the other award shows, and are you like thinking about the behind the scenes also?
Oh yeah, so I went to the Grammys.
Oh, nice.
Ludwig he's famous, I guess, and he like knew someone who knew someone, and he was able to buy tickets. So we went to the Grammys, and the whole time I'm like looking around, seeing how they do stuff. So it's so corporate, it's so stiff,
Exactly.
it's so whatever, and it's funny because I've gotten shit like, your show runs so long, and it's like every award show runs so long. So if that's your biggest complaint,
I think you're doing something.
oh, I'm
right,
sorry,
yeah.
I'm highlighting too many people for the show where you're supposed to highlight people, like, you know.
How long do you think it's supposed to be? An hour?
Yeah, they're like, get on with it. But the Grammys will like they have long ad breaks, right? And what we at home were like, oh, I can go get popcorn, whatever. But what that means for production, that's when production goes to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. That's when production does this on Twitch. You don't get long ad breaks.
Yeah.
So we have to sit there with production. We have to figure out, we have to like have extra members on production to just take over so people can go to the bathroom because we don't get breaks.
Wow.
And so it's like stuff like that where it's like, okay, you see a 15-minute recap. We always do a recap video of like, let's
I
highlight.
love that, by the way. That's so cool.
Shout out Samson is the editor on it. He's incredible every
love
year.
it.
Blows me away.
That's fire.
But the recap video is so fun, and everyone might think, God, this is long. that is our production team's 15. You have to give everyone a 15-minute break.
For sure.
They've got to go. So it's like
100%.
But you sit there at home and you're like, oh, why is it so long?
Like, you see the counter going like, man, come on, like 15. Like,
guys, they're on their smoke break. Let them out there. So do not like be freaking out. Be in the chat smoking with them. Like,
that's funny.
it's crazy.
There was a funny part last year. I'm sure you literally know what it is, when he started singing, performing. Do you remember what I'm talking about? It was the most viral reaction that I did. He was singing a song, and it was like funny. He was singing a song, like a goofy
Was
song.
it BB No Money?
No.
Leviathan.
Yes.
Oh, he was doing the Tomato Town.
Yes, that was so random, but please do more stuff like that.
Oh, I try to, because every year I'll say like, okay, who are music performers? I try to have the music performers related to streaming in some capacity.
For sure.
Like if they are a streamer and they also do music, yes. Like, I won't say who they are this year, but it's fucking sick.
Amazing.
You'll love it. It's coming soon. You'll see. But Leviathan is the original kid that sang Tomato Town.
Exactly.
And we got him to come sing
That's
at the show.
legendary shit.
And he's
So
like,
funny.
he's like an adult now, and like obviously his voice is like just enough tomato.
Yeah.
You know, but it's crazy.
That's awesome.
It's fun.
Funny moment.
So we try to think out of the box like that. I mean, we just want it to be. I want it to be for us. I want it to be
course.
fun. I want it to be. I don't know. Sometimes people call it cringe, and I'm like, we're streamers. It is cringe.
Yeah.
None of us know what we're doing. Like.
Going to the Grammys, was there anyone that you like, or even just like not just the Grammys, but overall in general, anybody like, I would say celebrity or like somebody like you see as a celebrity like interaction where you're just kind of like taken back by whether like you looked at them that like this certain way and they acted a certain way?
No, I think it's weird. The older I've gotten, I don't know about you guys, but the less I feel interested in celebrity interaction. Like, okay, I'm obsessed with Taylor Swift. I love her. Like,
So, but if you met Taylor Swift,
you know what's funny? I wouldn't. Like this, if Taylor was at a coffee shop across the street, I wouldn't even go over there.
that's
Really?
cap.
No, because that's like I don't want to bother her.
There's no way you wouldn't go.
You
I
would
wouldn't.
go. You
I
would go.
wouldn't.
That's your
I
chance.
literally wouldn't. What chance for what?
To meet her.
And say what?
You love her.
How many times do you think she hears that a day?
That's true.
She's
I
not
get
fun.
that.
It's for me. It's not
But
for
it's,
her.
yeah, but
right?
I say it's for you though.
Yeah, but I don't need it.
Deep inside, I feel
You
like
would
you
go.
I don't. No one
Nah,
believes me
that's
when I
cap.
say that. Who's your one person?
I would say Drake. Drake's probably that one person where
Okay.
I would be like, go chop it up with.
Are you okay after?
It was rough. Being in LA was rough.
Yeah.
Still
Yeah.
recovering.
I'm still recovering.
Kendrick got a lot of Grammy nominations for
and,
Not Like
and,
Us.
and he
Yeah.
got the Super Bowl for it.
Yeah. It's
We got
gonna be-
nominated Grammy for that song?
Yeah.
Yep,
Song
quite
of
a
the
bit.
year, Rap song of the year.
I don't think
5
Drake
Grammys for that
got
song?
one for any of his. Even Mustard got a Grammy nomination.
Drake is just not.
You'll be
even-
fine. You'll be fine.
I gotta deal with the Super Bowl, man.
You might be able to meet him. Just go to a high school.
Okay. Okay. All right.
The mean side's coming out.
Sorry.
He's clip farming.
Oh man.
What about you?
It would probably be some sort of sports player. It's pretty small, but like a Colombian. I'm Colombian, so like a Colombian legend.
Okay.
Named James. I've been around him. I saw him, but I couldn't approach him. I wanted to so bad, but yeah.
What would you say?
I would just say like he made me fall in love with soccer.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
he brought like the culture of soccer back to Colombia. Colombia was
Oh, that's cool.
went on like a 20-year just dry streak, and he was 23. He came to the World Cup, scored 6 goals, took us to the semifinal, and we lost. But
Oh.
yeah,
But it gave you hope.
exactly. So that would be somebody I would go to. But I can't believe you wouldn't say hi to Taylor
I
Swift.
wouldn't. I mean, I've met her once. Like I got pulled backstage.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What do
but
you
it
mean?
was like, I think maybe that's why. Because it's like I met my idol, and it's like, and for what?
Like you
For
shook
a
her, like you
picture?
shook her hand and took
Yeah.
a picture.
Yeah.
Would you
That's
prefer
legendary.
to meet her in a like not in a coffee shop, but let's say like a collab or something?
Yeah, that'd be more interesting.
Because you could talk with
Yeah.
her behind the scenes. I know she'll know who you are.
But I don't even know if like, I don't know. I guess it's like I would prefer to be at like a dinner party where it's like we're all on the same level compared
Got
to
it.
like I am just fan. I would rather be like, this sounds insane.
No, that
I'd
makes
rather
a
be
lot
a
of sense.
peer though, where it's like, because I like you guys do dope shit, right? And I can pick your brains and I can feel comfortable doing that. But if I'm at a dinner party with Taylor Swift, I'm like, so what was your thought process behind folklore? Like, you know,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just like fan. I'm not like,
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
what you mean.
yeah. So I don't know. I think that's the hard thing is it's like to get to know people on less than a superficial level, you have to have like a certain type of relationship. And I don't think I ever could have that type of relationship with.
So it's like,
Taylor
not
Swift.
why even try to attempt it. It's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah. I mean, she's busy, right? Like she's got like, if she was at a coffee shop next door, there'd be a freaking crowd outside. And
well, I saw the clip of her in Jersey that one time when she was at a bar. There was 10,000 people outside of it.
Are you serious?
In a small town in,
Sad,
in
huh?
New Jersey. I said,
That sucks.
yeah,
it was crazy.
Exactly.
I said, what?
Yeah. I mean, Chapel Roan's talked about the same thing. Like I'm a big Chapel head. And she's like, I can't even go to the grocery store anymore, right? And if someone you're a fan of is saying, I can't go to the grocery store anymore, then part of you is like, ooh, maybe we don't approach them when they're at the grocery store then. And so, I don't know. I see it both ways, but me personally, it's fine. I don't need to meet them.
I wanted to ask you, you're so around like content all the time. You see so many streamers. We spoke about this on multiple podcasts before. What's your thoughts on the importance of streaming as well as posting on YouTube?
If you are streaming and you're not posting on YouTube, you're dumb as hell. Yeah.
Facts.
It's just, if you just pay an editor to take your stream at bare minimum.
That's bare minimum.
That's bare minimum. And just put it on YouTube, great. But what you should be doing is, I mean, I like watching YouTube videos more than streams, right? Because it's like,
Same.
that's the best juice. And so you should be setting your streams up to be made YouTube videos. So that's the
fire.
secret.
I
So
like
usually
that.
I start my stream, I sit there, I do my normal just chatting. That's not going to be in the YouTube video. But then we do a tier list and there's my YouTube video. And then we do gaming. But this is my pie that goes onto YouTube. So that's my biggest advice is setting up your stream as that.
That's
and
smart.
then, yeah.
I like that.
Because like I don't necessarily want to do a tier list of all Halloween candy, but
That'd be a good YouTube video.
it's a good YouTube video, and stream likes it too. So got to double dip.
Yeah, and that, I also like stream, like they like to interact. The chat probably goes fucking nuts when you start
Hi
doing
YouTube,
stuff.
hi YouTube.
Yeah. They do. They love saying hi YouTube. They love it so much.
I love that.
Do you guys have like a favorite thing you've posted on YouTube recently?
Recently, it was like my least viewed thing of like the last like
I hate
months.
when that happens.
But we went to Japan and we did we got a bunch of snacks and just like rated Japanese snacks.
Okay.
It was so fun. But everything, like there was some stuff was gross, but it was just super fun. But got the least amount of views. But that's probably one of my favorite things I posted recently.
That's awesome. For me, I mean, I don't post on YouTube. I want to get more into long
Come
form.
on!
That's why I always ask.
That's why I called you
She just
dumb.
said dumb as hell.
You said
and
dumb
you're
as
not
hell.
posting on YouTube.
I know. That's why I was like laughing when you said that.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm like primarily short form. It's so weird. I'm like only
I
short
see.
form, but I want to do long.
It
form.
is hard to do it. I mean, if
When
I'm
you're
being
used
honest,
to
on a
it.
short term, like short form that's the moneymaker right now.
Yeah. But long term.
But long term, you
YouTube
gotta
is
do YouTube.
forever.
Yeah, and also you build like a good community too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I'm missing that I'm working on. But I love talking to people like you that know the world, and I learn a lot. So
Yeah. It's very interesting how the meta has changed. Like I've had new streamers come up to me for advice, and they were like, hey, how do you like pay people to post your clips? And I was like, what? And I was like, you just hire an editor, and they're like, no, like the clip channels that post clips. And I was like, I was like, Lacey? I was like, what the, so it's always evolving. It's always changing. But that is something that's really interesting because I was talking to Lacey and Ron actually about that. And I was like, how does that work? And they're like, oh, you make Discords and like they get paid per views and it just comes. And I was like, that comes out of your pocket? They're like, yeah, because it's like your advertising money, And I'm like, okay. And then like I go home and I tell Ludwig about it. And Lud's like, nah, I don't fuck with that shit. And I was like, uh-oh. You're going to fall behind.
Yeah.
Like, little do you know, I'm going to start a freaking clip Discord. And,
Yeah, but I mean, it's metas. Like, this is the
it's
different metas.
interesting. It's
Yeah.
so interesting. Yeah, there's so many different ways to approach it.
I wanted to ask you, I've seen this question go viral. It actually made the news in Houston one time because Max has said it on stream. Is a 9 to 5 harder than streaming?
My God.
So I wanted to know your answer. I wanted
Max
to know
is a
your answer as well.
Yes. It's absolutely hard. I mean, I've worked most of my life, and this job is like streaming as a job, blah, blah, blah. People think it's funny. It depends. Everybody's different.
For sure.
My job description is different than yours, even though we do the same thing. And I will say this job is the most mentally taxing, emotionally, mental health wise is awful. But the rewards outweigh the cons, at least for now.
For sure.
But other jobs that I've had, they're so much harder than playing video games and watching YouTube videos.
For sure.
Right? Like there's no job, even like pastry chef. I was on my feet all day, every day. I loved that job, right? I've always loved working, but like it was way harder than sitting at my desk and watching a YouTube video.
100%.
I agree, 100%. We spoke about that once in the pod about it, and I say that the only thing I feel that's different that streaming doesn't have is the consistency of a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, unless you're a huge streamer, but most people are like have 100, maybe even less, and some people make 1,000 to 2,000. So, but then one month they might make 5 to 10K.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
The
The
ceiling's
big
just
months.
way higher for streaming. I think that's why you would say that 9 to 5 is harder, just because in a 9 to 5 you're really working at a ceiling. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like every job basically, like there's a point where you get stopped. Like there's no matter how much extra work you put in, you can't. You know what I mean?
Which is also could be a good thing because you're gonna make that every month. Like if you don't stream,
the security for sure.
Yeah.
So I think there's like different versions. I also
Yeah.
think streaming is a 24/7 job. Like you're always thinking of content, and it's kind of like a parasite in your brain.
It
And
is.
Like you can't even go on vacation. Like you're in Japan thinking like, I gotta shoot a video of me trying Cenat. Like
Literally.
you're checking your studio to see if it's a 1 out of 10.
100%.
So it's like fun, but I think it can mess with you mentally.
I mean,
Like,
even
it's-
people who IRL stream, like them, even like when the FaZe boys went to when they went to Japan, like I had went to Japan last time. I was like, man, I can't even imagine trying to stream right now. Like I'm just enjoying, just like around me, like you know what I mean, just kind of getting lost in the city. And they're worried, you know what I mean. When you're streaming, you're worried about they're bored. We got to do something else.
Yep.
Even though you're having fun, they're bored, so I got to switch it up. That's
Yeah.
so fucking. I couldn't do it. I can't do it. So I'm a gamer. I can't.
It is like you don't get a clock out.
Yeah.
It's made me worse as a like human, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like I look at my phone right now and I've got 276 texts that I need to reply to. Oh my God. These are not ones that I can just exit out of. I've already done that. These are like work things or other streamers trying to set up collabs or asking questions or blah, blah, blah. And then also in there is like my family.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah. Damn.
How do you, it's definitely harder to find a balance. But I've always had that problem with jobs. Like even like when I was an interior designer on vacations, I would make sure to check my email every morning. And like, I've just been addicted to it. I've always been addicted. I've
never heard that take, but I agree with it 100%. Like it really has like streaming makes and content in general makes you like worse humans. Mm-hmm. Cause it's like, for me, like I go like in my head, damn, I want to start a family, but it's like, damn, you know what I mean? It's like, when can I see, you know what I mean? I'm still grinding, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, if I was to have like a 9 to 5, I feel like I'd be more inclined to have a family because like, okay, I know what my daily is. I know when I can fit maybe having a kid or like, you know what I mean? Starting a life. So I feel like and then it's like with family time, it's like, it's like, I would, you know what I mean? Like, how do I make time for that when I'm streaming and I have this thing coming up, you know? Like, it genuinely does. I do feel like it does make you like maybe it's kind of harsh, but worse of a human.
Well, it also helps you in hard times. It is the easiest way to distract yourself.
Yes, facts.
Like
True.
you can't think about, should I be spending more time with my mom when you've got a chat of 2,000 people talking to you?
Yeah.
Like you
Yep.
can't think. You just have to be in that moment, which is bad because then you start compartmentalizing and separating everything and then dissociating. And then you have this moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't processed anything for a year. And it's because I've just been grinding.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Exactly.
fuck.
And
Damn.
streaming is so new. Like, I wonder what are the, like, I don't know, like the mental stuff that go on or in our brains that in 40 years from now, like scientists are going to start saying like streaming affects your brain in this way. Like we
or
don't
just
know.
content in general, like the way like
Yeah,
apps
just social
work.
media.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like our brain is shifting in a weird way.
I mean, we've seen a lot of people go down some like pretty dark paths when it comes to like content creation. And it's because our brains are wired like any other animals where positive reinforcement is what keeps us going. So if I go on stream and I fucking start chugging Everclear and everyone in chat thinks it's funny and I get so many views, I might do that again the next day
Yeah.
and then the next day. And then eventually that gets boring. So what can I do? I'm
keep
going to
trying
go
to
on
chase-
Hollywood
yeah.
Boulevard and I'm going to flash people, right? Like the shock value.
The Logan Paul effect. I always tell people,
Yeah.
I said literally like with the IRL content and stuff like that, like gaming's a little bit different, but when you get into that world, you're always chasing the next high. So like you never like you saw it with Logan. Like I was watching his whole journey of like when he was vlogging, and I just always saw he was always every video was just bigger.
Something more
of a shock
shocking.
effect.
Yep.
And then I got to a point where it was like, okay, he got to Japan. He's doing some nut shit where basically he's almost about to get banned from Japan, and then the Forest thing happens. He just kept chasing. You just keep chasing that like bigger shot.
Yeah.
I think people need to give grace though when that happens because it is an addiction. Yeah. Like it genuinely is. And so like
he's not worried about what he filmed. He's worried about how many views he's gonna get. And he's going in his head like, yo, it's a banger. Like that's what he thought in his head when he uploaded it.
It's so weird. It's definitely this little wormy. And so I think it's a slippery slope. I think finding balance is important, but I know for a fact it causes, my therapist described what I was talking about earlier as a like self-enforced multiple personality, because I don't have multiple personality, but every actor even stops playing a role eventually.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not me. That was my job it still is my job.
Yeah.
Right. And I am the product. Margot Robbie was only Harley Quinn for 3 months.
That's crazy.
And then she's done being Harley Quinn.
And
She's back
Barbie.
to being Margot. Yeah, but then she's Barbie for 3 months. And then she's done being Barbie. She's back to being Margot.
Wow.
It's hard to stop being QTCinderella.
That's crazy.
So it's easy to get lost in it. And, I've got a lot of like PTSD now from stalkers and swatting and situations like that. So it's definitely not good for your brain.
Yeah. I agree.
Definitely not.
Yeah. But, we should all just go to therapy. Everybody go to therapy.
I definitely need to start going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's good for you. It really is.
This is a fire pod.
Oh, good.
I learned so much.
Did you?
Yes.
I feel like I talked way too much.
No.
You did not. You're a legend.
You learned so much. You really are a legend.
Good.
Before we end, just a quick, we like talking about a little bit about like finances. I'm not going to ask you how much you make, but do you remember like your first check from Twitch and what you spent it on?
What's funny is I was working my 9 to 5 and I was an interior designer. And so next to me was the most fabulous gay man. I loved him so much. I miss him all the time. And he would always make fun of me because we'd both be leaving work. And he's like, are you going to go stream video games to boys tonight? And I'd be like, stop it. And then one time I got $500. And I was like, because I'd have all these subs and I was sitting next to him and I was like, Grayson, check this out. And he's like 60 and he's like, he was so funny. And he was like, were you wearing your top? How did you make that? And I'm like, oh my God. And he was so dramatic. But it was just like, it was like side money because I was very good at my last job. I was very lucky. I had a very good salary. And so I never, ever imagined that streaming would pass it or that I'd ever quit it because I loved that job and I loved Grayson. But that $500, you know what I think I did? I spent it on a Misfortune cosplay.
Wow.
For stream because I was a League of Legends streamer and so I wanted.
You reinvested it.
Yeah. So
Smart.
I instantly, and I mean, I still do that now. I say it all the time. Like if you sub to me on Twitch, that is what's paying for stupid murder mystery event or Overcooked IRL or whatever. Because events, you don't usually get sponsors because there's so much variables, right? Sure. Like sponsors don't see that and they think, oh, that's a safe bet.
Yeah.
What's a safe bet is you at your desktop.
You got to be on their terms too, which is like, I want to do everything I want.
Exactly. So I try to throw it all back in where I can because it's fun. It's still fun to me. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it.
For sure.
I agree. Awesome. What a banger, bro. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
We learned so much.
Wait, what did you guys buy first?
We always say this story. It's so funny.
Yeah, I bought, my first check was from YouTube because I used to do YouTube videos before streaming, but I was $2 and I bought 2 McDoubles from McDonald's.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And then mine was, I always say it, my first big check was from TikTok. And I just got out of debt.
Sick.
I owed a bunch of money in my credit cards. But I did remember, I always say this for the answer, but my actual Twitch first ever check, I remember it was like $70. And I invested it into like a light for my webcam.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool.
That's a good one.
That's good.
That's a good one. Okay, sorry, I just had to know.
No, you're
good. So we have a tradition where at the end of every pod, we do a quick prayer. Is that fine with you?
Yes, I was Mormon. We start prayers different, though. It's very verbatim.
Ours is sweet. It's just quick. You'll see.
Okay, do we fold our arms?
No, there's no rules here.
I'm doing it.
Father God, thank you so much for this podcast. Thank you for the life of Cutie. Thank you, God, for everybody watching. We love you. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. See, we close our arms and cross.
Oh, is that the rule?
Those are the rules.
Oh, that's cool.